Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? How's it going, everyone? Hope you're well, hope you're well. You wanted to vote for Leclerc but accidentally chose Max. Unbelievable. Don't let anyone else know that. Cheers, everyone. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Come on, Lewis, please do this for us. When will the race start, Court? It will start on the hour. On the hour mark. Hey, Kelly, Mark, good to see you. Hope you're well. Sam Verstappen will win. Well, he may not. He may not. We'll see. George Russell lining up alongside him. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So, you missed me, Karen. Where was you yesterday? Where was you yesterday? 30 minutes, yes, on the hour, guys. So you do have time to go and gather yourself toilet break, gather yourself a beverage, some snacks, because the race is underway in just under half an hour. So on the hour mark, wherever you are in the world. But hey, hope everyone's doing well. The family's doing very well. Wonk, doing very well. The missus is currently watching Strictly Come Dancing on the BBC One, and the baby is well fed and asleep. So yeah, both my ladies are doing well. So yeah, hope you're good. With Russell, the thing that will happen is whinging. True. But the thing is that, look, this is a sprint race where overtakes can happen. It is a circuit where you can overtake. Looks like teams are running slightly different setups as well. From what I saw on a comparison lap between Verstappen and Russell's qualifying lap yesterday, the Merc is quicker in a straight line, it seems. They made a lot of time. George Russell made a lot of time down and back straight on Max Verstappen. So that is obviously where the primary overtaking opportunity is. So yeah, we will see. But I am kind of expecting fireworks, but who knows? Just moving into uni. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Got to focus on in real life things. So hang on. Replay of Oscar Piastri. What was the worry about Oscar? Oh, Oscar Piastri has to take avoiding action through the S's as one of the stake F1 cars got in his way. Not ideal start for Oscar Piastri, of course, starting in 16th position today, guys. And no, actually, no, he's starting in 15th because Liam Lawson is starting from the back of the grid. So I'm just waiting for the live data to go live. And once it does, we can change scenery. You're one of my favourite watch-along YouTubers I've been watching since Canada. Oh, thank you, buddy. Glad you've been sticking around. And yes, a big thank you to everyone who keeps tuning in for the watch-alongs. Much appreciated. As I've said numerous times already, this community has massively grown throughout the duration of the year. This is my third year doing the watch-alongs, and it's been great to see the support and the fact that we get returning viewers. That's the important thing. New viewers is great, but we get consistent viewership and we get returning viewers. So even those who don't pop into the chat, and I know there's a number of you who keep returning and have me on in the background or just sit there and enjoy the streams. Appreciate every single one of you. So yeah, big thank you. And we're all sharing our love of F1. We do things slightly different here than other watch-alongs, I think, and that's the beauty of what we do here. So, but hey, good to see you, mate. Chaz, do I think Haas will score points? Maybe. I mean, they've got to be in the top 8. It's a tall order for them with Sergio Perez directly behind. Oscar Piastri, I think, will make some good gains here as well. It's a tall order for them. If this was the race on Sunday, probably, but we'll see. We'll see. Can Colapinto get points? The sprint race is a lot trickier, guys. So unless I do think Perez will make his way back through the grid for the duration of this race. He's only a couple of positions back from 8th place, which is only the top 8 score points in the sprint race, so not the top 10, which kind of, we discussed this yesterday. I'm not overly a big fan of that, because what's the point of kind of the rest of the teams racing, really, other than maybe gathering data for, of course, the qualifying later on and the race on Sunday. But yeah, we'll see. Have I done my nappy training yet? I did my nappy training before she was born, and I'm a pro nappy changer. I'm not even phased by a Poonami. I don't know if there's a bit of baby talk now, guys. Sorry. If I'm not sure if there's something wrong with my nose, but I really can't smell her nappies unless she's not doing smelly ones yet. But they're definitely messy. But I'm not phased at all. I'm really surprised, actually. Really surprised. So, race starts on the hour, guys. Race starts on the hour. Am I faster than the Ferrari's pit stop, though? Debatable. Debatable. Think Lawson will finish in the top 13? We'll see. I mean, look, the RB car looks okay in a race scenario, though. I'm not sure if it has the pace to make up that many positions off the back of the grid, which is where he'll be starting. Colapinto top 8? Maybe. I mean, as I said, it is a tall order. The top 7 teams, the top 8, arguably, I do consider Perez to be in that top 8, of course, being in the Red Bull. I think that will be what it will be. I think Sergio Perez will pick the guys ahead of him off. This is a circuit where overtaking is doable. Unless Sergio Perez really has screwed up his setup, which is just incapable of making an overtake. But we know Sergio's almost better coming through the field than he is starting further up, you know. So, do I think Hamilton will improve today? I think he will. I'm really intrigued to see the pace of that Mercedes. I really am intrigued because he should have been on pole position yesterday. He should have been, if it wasn't for that unfortunate yellow flag, the timing of it. I think he should have been on pole position. So I'm intrigued to see the race pace of that Mercedes and see if what we saw in quali yesterday translates to their race pace. He was quick on the mediums and quick on the softs yesterday, but that's on low fuel. So we'll see if on higher fuel, if the Mercedes does have much better pace. And of course, we know Lewis, he's won 5 times here. He does like this circuit. He has confidence here. He loves the US fans, and he always kind of raises his game, doesn't he? And his level at tracks like this. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how he gets on. So. You got 98 out of 100 on your exam? Well done, Imps. Well done. Much appreciated. Well done. Well done. Well done. I'm going to have a swig of rum and coke for you. Oh, not sponsored, by the way. Not sponsored. I just generally love a bit of cracking. Hammer's going to deliver today. We'll see. Hey, yeah, good to see you, mate. I've been watching the whole season. I'm an amazing person. Oh, thanks. Can you talk to my missus? No, I'm kidding. She knows I'm an amazing person. Your English is good enough for me, bro. Don't worry, man. Appreciate the kind words. You got a feeling there's going to be a few collisions on turn 1? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Because Russell and Leclerc kind of don't have anything to lose. They want to go for a win. Lando and Max, of course, have the championship to consider. So Max, we know, is aggressive in his defending, especially at the start of races. He does come over and cover off the other driver, and he'll squeeze. He definitely will squeeze at the start of the race if George Russell gets a better start than him. And of course, the nature of turn 1 as well. I mean, Max will not. You'll see Max not hesitate to take to the exit or run wide at turn 1. And take to the exit curb and let the stewards make the decision of whether or not he maintained a position fairly. This is not my worry, but this is how I see it playing out. Is that I think maybe Max and George go side by side into turn 1. George Russell kind of tries to run Max wide, or Max just bows out very early, keeps full throttle, and takes to the exit runoff of turn 1, as we see so often at the Circuit of the Americas, and he maintains that position through the S's, and then it's like, well, he forced me off. It's a turn 1 incident, and then the stewards will kind of let it go. I think that's what might happen, but we'll see. Have I seen the clips where FIA keeps checking Max's car? What, in regards to the footwell of the device that can alter the front bib? I have seen images of it, yes. It is conveniently placed, to say the least. Let's just say that. It does look like it's in a place where it could be perceived that a mechanic is leaning in to change the pedals of the car, of the driver, which you're allowed to do. Driver comfort changes are allowed to be made in Parc Fermé, and you could at the same time without even looking, alter that device. So of course it's proven it is very difficult, but there's a reason why that is located where it is, and the rest of the teams have it located externally. That's just take that into consideration. So, hey Gavin, I'm very well, thank you. Hope you are too. I think my Singapore race stream gained more views. It did, yes. Still not my highest viewed stream though. Monaco. How crazy is this though, guys? The most boring race of the year, and I think we can all agree that Monaco is the most boring race of the year, was my most viewed stream of the year. We hit 14,000 viewers, peak viewership. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was the most boring. So, even though we all kind of don't like Monaco for the racing, it still entices people to just tune in. We just can't resist, can we, as F1 fans, checking how Monaco's getting on. So, shameful ramming shall commence, we'll see. Max is so good at starts, very rare. Others can get him on the first corner. I do agree with that, Swim. Yes, it's one of Max's, I say underrated. He doesn't get enough credit. Of course, a lot of Max's credit, we're obviously focused. Sorry, a lot of the focus on Max is about his driving and the rest of what he does throughout the race. But something that is very much overlooked, and I don't think gets enough credit, is his race starts. He has been very, very consistent and very good. I can't remember the last time he had a poor start. Like, genuinely, I can't. Even when he started further back, it's been a while since he's been on pole position. Austria is the last time we have to go back to Max Verstappen being last on pole. He hasn't really had a poor start. He hasn't lost too many positions off the race start. So yeah, he's been pretty decent in that regard, and I do kind of expect him to be leading actually at the end. Well, will he be leading at the end of the first lap? Maybe without DRS. We'll see as soon as DRS is activated whether the Mercedes, if they have that extra straight line speed that we saw in qualifying. But right, it looks like I'm just trying to get the I think everything's ready for me to rock and roll with the data, and then we can get going, guys. We can get going. Can indeed, we can indeed. Right, give me just 2 seconds. That Brown just saying, if everyone put on their perfect lap, I think Lewis would be on pole position. So, interesting there. Interesting. Right, we're ready to rock and roll. Oh, was it really, Ibs? For the Monaco stream? Lovely. Right, so just an FYI, guys, I had hopefully... So I've done a bit of tweaking of the stream, or of the overlays here, as you can see. So hopefully the data... I got a few comments yesterday about not being able to see the data, which is fair. I'm always here to... always listening to ways to improve the stream and the viewing experience for you all. So what I've done is that I've kind of zoomed in. Unfortunately, there's no option for me to just increase the text size of all of the data, which is so frustrating. So I've had to do things my end on Streamlabs to ensure that we can zoom in and you can see more of the data. So hopefully everything is okay. So the race control messages are kind of up here for you guys, so that you can keep track of those that come through. So they're not at the bottom left anymore, they're up there. And then we've got the track map here, which should be fine, and then chat should be popping up right there. Bosh. There we go. There we go. So hopefully, yes, I did look at it back and I was like, yeah, no, I understand, Georgian, but I actually do agree. I look back at it and I was like, yeah, do you know what? If I was watching that on my mobile or if I was watching that on the laptop, it's probably not as... I'd probably have to not strain my eyes, but focus on the actual lap times rather than just have a quick glance. Like I want you to be able to just see what I'm talking about, pretty much, without even thinking or straining your eyes. So, yeah. not everyone is fortunate enough to be able to watch it on a big TV screen. So I know the majority of you do watch it on mobile or on a smaller device. So yeah, hopefully this is all good for you all. You're still impressed how I can drive iRacing, live stream, and read the chat at the same time. Very impressive. Well, you know. Yeah, no, it is tough. It is tough. I probably could go quicker if I wasn't focusing so much on chat and recording and so forth and thinking about a narrative. But hey ho, I can't. I love talking. I've always been talking. My report card in school was always talks too much. Scott's doing very well in class, but he talks too much. He could do with talking less. Well, what if you could see me now, eh? What if you could see me now, teachers? Huh? How long do I think I'll be doing watch-alongs? I think I'll be doing them for many years to come, Chaz. The great thing is that look, one day, hopefully, this is a full-time career for me. YouTube, the sim racing stuff, and then F1 as well alongside it. But ultimately, I love doing this. I really do. I watch a TV. I watch the highlights of a race now. Every now and then, I'll stick the highlights on in the background of of any Grand Prix, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, I wouldn't enjoy this. Like, while I'm commentating for you guys, I'm still watching the race at the same time and enjoying the race and getting a buzz from it. And I love having the back and forth with you guys throughout the race, before, after, like we're doing now, and that's my experience of F1 now, and I don't think I could go back to just watching on TV, because I think I'd just miss so much of F1. So yeah, I think I'll be doing these for as long as I possibly can. If I appear on TV, you can be guaranteed, and I do stop these watch-alongs, it's probably because there's quite a few zeros at the end of the check. I've said that before. If I end up in broadcasting or some forth, and I do stop these watch-alongs, it's purely for financial reasons. I do have a family to support now. I have a full-time job. This isn't my full-time job. This brings in a nice bit of pocket money for me. But yeah, that's it. So surprised they haven't offered me a contract for racing analysis live commentary. Maybe in the future, Swim. Maybe. I'm still too small for it, really, to be on their radar, if I'm honest with you. The likes of, if you've seen Tomo F1 on Sky a number of times on the podcast and on like kind of their supporting shows in regards to F1, because he's got over 300,000 subscribers. He's a big content creator, so you need to kind of get to that sort of levels, I think over 100k, to kind of get noticed by them. So yeah, but it's all right. I should do vlogs on... I don't go anywhere to do a vlog though, Georgian. That's the thing. Race starts on the hour, guys. Race starts on the hour. Your teacher would literally tell my mum that I talked way too much. Well, look, it helps you. If you talk too much, it's a good trait. You'd rather... Oh, there's positives, to, of course, to not talking enough and just going about your business. But yeah, I think if you talk too much, it's a good trait to have, to an extent. Depends what you're talking about. So, could I turn the music down, please? Yeah, of course I can. Yeah. Is it still a bit too loud? Maybe the old settings are still there. I think it is, yeah, sorry. There we go. Good evening, Enoch. Good evening. Do I know a good stream? Right here, Sarah. Right here. Here we go, guys. Not long. So, sprint race. Rain is 0% chance. Oh, look at that. FIA stewards, incident involving Zhou, Bottas and Alonso reviewed. No further investigation. Maximum delta time. Is it the 19th today or is it the 20th? It is the 19th. Oh, so they're not happy about that. So, yapping, yeah. What do I think of Lando's chances to win? I think Lando's chances of winning depends on whether if he can get ahead of Leclerc into turn one. I think there's a very high possibility of him winning, but I really don't know. I don't know what we don't know what the race pace is of any of these cars. That's the thing. We've had our first insight, of course, to the genuine pace of cars from quali yesterday, but We don't know. That's the thing. It's a real unknown. We saw drivers out on the hard compound tyre yesterday. No one used the medium because, of course, the medium had to be used in quali. It's no doubt the medium will be used here in the sprint race. Anyone who starts on the soft is just going to fall off at the end. That's for sure. Albon looks like he's starting from the pit lane. He's made changes to his setup. So wasn't happy yesterday. But yeah, I really don't know. I think there's a possibility, yes. I think there is a good chance. He is still only starting on the second row. And it is a track where you can overtake, and there are enough laps for him to overtake. And I do think Verstappen and Russell might tussle it out quite a bit. So, thanks, Shimon. Can't watch the race, otherwise I'll die of sleep deprivation. No, Rogeri, good to see you. We're back tomorrow for the... Well, we're back this evening for the qualifying, of course, for the main race tomorrow. And, of course, the race tomorrow as well on Sunday, so... I think Lando win his championship DNF. Yeah, I mean, look, of course you don't want to lose points to your championship rival while you're 52 points back already. The thing is, for Lando, is that in the sprint race, there is only 1 point difference between each position. So if he was to finish behind Max Verstappen, as it stands, he would only lose 3 points. So you don't want to lose any points whatsoever, but he'd only lose 3. So it's not like a big of a loss as to what it is in the race on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to be losing any points whatsoever. He should have seen this. He should have seen this as an opportunity with a sprint race to capitalise on gaining on Max, even if it is 1 point. But as it stands, he's going to be losing. But we'll see. We'll see. Thanks, Jimmy. In how many hours GP quali? GP quali is at 11 PM UK time, so that will be 4 hours from now. Well, just over 4 hours from now, Dodal, wherever you are in the world. Road to 31k. Yeah, not far, not far. Big thank you for all the subs that have been flying in. Much appreciated. If it hasn't shown up as an alert, I do have the alerts turned off, actually, because it can get in the way, of course, of the... well, the alerts do come through, but not the sounds, because it gets in the way, of course, of commentary throughout the race. But big thank you for everyone who's been subscribing. How do I affect my biases from affecting my commentating? So I will commentate what I see, but of course I do let biases sneak in every now and then. So I'm not overly... I've said this before. There are drivers and there is drivers that I support more than others. However, what I want to see primarily is exciting racing. I want to see races. Good race, wheel-to-wheel racing. I get a buzz from that as a race fan. And what I want to always see is a battle. And I've always said, and I've openly held my hands up to this, I'm not Max Verstappen's biggest fan. I'm not Red Bull's biggest fan. I don't hide from that. However, I can respect the talent that Max has and how good of a driver he is and how good of a team Red Bull are. However much I may dislike them. And I'll always give credit where it's due. So, yeah, that's basically it. Do we get an extra point for fastest lap on a sprint? No. No, I think that's only for the main race, Anthony. What's the tyre degradation between like for the soft and medium compound with anyone being on softs? I think it's quite high, swim. I wouldn't expect to see anyone on the softs. Anyone who starts on the softs, they'll make good gains at the start, but they'll fall off pretty quickly. Yeah, they won't. The soft isn't a viable option for a 19-lap race. We've seen it so often. I think at any circuit, the soft isn't a viable option. You just don't. You can't go as quick as you can on the soft and make it last compared to what you can maybe in a full race where you can back off a little bit. But yeah, the medium is definitely going to be the tyre of choice here. We know I'm a die-hard Stroll fan. Well, you know, I do get a nice holiday in the Bahamas every year at La Casa Stroll. I don't, by the way. But Lance Stroll, if you're listening, I'll happily give you some good coverage and give you some kind words if you do. Stuffy for Lando, yeah. What's my thoughts about Lewis's laps about him being Mahida, yes. Lewis was on for pole position if that yellow flag didn't come out and he had to lift. I mean, obviously Lewis would feel that way, that he would be on pole position. But Zach Brown has just said it. I've seen other drivers, seen other team members say it as well. Yeah, Lewis was on for pole position, but the yellow flag got in the way at the wrong time. So, damn Colapinto. As much as I love Colapinto, damn him. But right, guys, we are not long until the race gets underway. Less than 5 minutes now. We'll be shortly finding out which tyres all the drivers are starting on. I'd be very surprised if anyone decides to start on the soft compound tyre. I expect to see yellow mediums all the way up and down this grid. But get your votes in for this. Why does my poll... Everyone's been... Why does it say my poll's absolutely kind of glitched out at the moment? I'm going to end the poll. Has it come through? There we go. 403 votes. See, it said only one person had voted, and it was for Max Verstappen. So Max Verstappen, 48% of you think Max Verstappen is going to win this race. 19% think Norris starting from 4th. Interesting. Russell starting in 2nd, 15%, and Leclerc 15% as well. Interesting. Are we going to see a... Do you remember the Chinese race where Max Verstappen started 5th, I think it was, or 4th? And he won the race, won the sprint race. I wonder if we'll see a performance like that from Lando. Let's see. Wasn't too happy with the performance yesterday and the setup. But of course, this is only the sprint race. We have qualifying later on. Drivers are able to change their setup after the sprint race now and change it for qualifying and for the race on Sunday. And as expected, everyone's starting on a medium compound tyre, but very different levels of usage of this medium compound tyre, guys. As you can see, Lando Norris, interestingly, starting on a medium compound tyre that is 5 laps old. Same as George Russell. Lewis Hamilton starting on a compound that is 4 laps old. Verstappen and Leclerc and Sainz on a 3-lap-old medium compound tyre. How much of an advantage in grip is that going to give those drivers early on in this sprint race? We will see. Not long to find out. Piastri, of course, not making it through to Q2, is able to start on a fresh set of mediums. Let's see how his progression is in this sprint race. No doubt he is going to be wanting to make up for a poor performance yesterday. Liam Lawson, interestingly, that penalty is to be taken in the race on Sunday, it seems, not in the sprint race, which is a bit of a shame. It looks like they're not willing to put the brand new engine in for this sprint race, so Lawson will be starting at the back of the grid on Sunday instead of today. I'm not sure why you would do that, but okay, RB. I mean, some of their decisions this year have been very, very suspect, to say the least. Hot take, Hot Colapinto gets P3. Who do I support, Elmar? So I am British bias. Yeah, I support the Brits primarily. I want Lewis Hamilton to do well. Shock horror, as you can see from the poster and the helmet there. I do like George Russell, and not as much as Hamilton, but I do want George Russell to do well. I want Lando to do well. I do want... Who else is a Brit on the grid at the moment? There is another, isn't there? I'm forgetting someone. Oh, Albon is kind of a de facto Brit. I know he races under the tyre flag. I want Albon to do well. But I'm also a fan of the youngsters. I'm really looking for... I really want the youngsters always to do well. So Piastri and Colapinto. Ollie Bearman, I know he's British, but I wanted him to do well when he comes in. And Liam Lawson. Like I like seeing the new blood come through into F1 and to bring a spark back to the sport. And thankfully, they've been able to do that. So yeah, I always want them to do well. It starts in a couple of minutes, guys. Less than a minute, we are going to be on the formation lap. So please hit that like button. Over 100 likes already. 700 of you here in the stream waiting for this sprint race to get underway. Let's see who is going to come out on top. Of course, Lando Norris started in P4, 3 positions back from his title rival, but is on the second row. And we know the first corner at the Circuit of the Americas can be very, very interesting. It's not your normal first corner. So we'll see. We've had incident here before with George Russell down into turn 1. But here we go. Formation lap is underway, guys. Not long until the Circuit of the Americas sprint race. Our first session of this day getting underway. We have the qualifying for the main race tomorrow later on this evening UK time. So 4 hours from now we'll have the qualifying where drivers are able to change their setup after this sprint race. But let's run down this grid as we are on the formation lap right now. It is Max Verstappen pole position. Who would have thought that yesterday? Max Verstappen on the pole from George Russell. Only 0.12 of a second George Russell was behind Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc is starting in P3. Lando Norris in P4. Not so good from the McLaren driver. Carlos Sainz in P5. Nico Hülkenberg outperformed by Kevin Magnussen on the medium compound tyre in Q1 and Q2, but then pulled it out of the bag to qualify P6 on the soft in starting 6th today. Lewis Hamilton, of course, we know, already discussed, could have and should have been on pole position yesterday, but got caught out by that yellow flag that Colapinto brought out by spinning at turn 12. Is starting in 7th. Intrigued to see the pace of that Mercedes today in Lewis Hamilton's hands. Kevin Magnussen in 8th. Yuki Tsunoda in 9th. A good qualifying performance from him, getting it into Q3. Colapinto, after Alex Albon failed to make it out of Q1 from that spin in turn 19, doing tremendous work still in that Williams car, showing that Logan Sargent should have been replaced at the start of the year, and really disappointing really that Williams seat is shored up for next year. But all we can do is keep putting in the performances that he's doing right now and give James Vowles a very nasty headache as he is in P10. Sergio Perez, of course, poor qualifying, as we so often see from him in P11, but I do expect him to make up positions in this sprint race. Pierre Gasly in P12, a good qualifying from the Alpine driver, only getting through to Q2 yesterday due to Piastri's lap time being deleted for track limits violation. Lance Stroll in 13th, Alonso 14th. Both those drivers had laps deleted yesterday with track limits violation at turn 19. Lawson in 15th. Piastri, of course, we know track limits violation at the same corner as the two Aston Martins means he didn't make it out of Q1. Is starting in 16th. Esteban Ocon 17th. Bottas and Zhou 18th and 19th as the bright green tractors they are, and Alex Albon seems to have taken a setup change which has broken part Ferme rules and means he is starting from the pit lane. But here we go, guys, we're about to get underway. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Ooh, who's going to win this sprint race? Most of you think Max Verstappen. Some of you think it's neck and neck between Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc and George Russell, and the next best was Lando Norris. But let's see, moments away to find out who's going to lead into turn 1 in this Circuit of the Americas sprint race. I'm ready to rock and roll. Are you? Let's go. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Oof, that really went down there. That little bit of rum. I'm feeling ready. I'm ready. I hope you guys are too. Moments away. Everyone's starting on the medium compound tyre. Different tyre usage, though, of these tyres. Lewis Hamilton being reported. There is nothing to concern us on data. But here we go. Bottas and Zhou starting, coming at the end of this box right here. They are gridding up. We are moments away. Red lights will be on as Alex Albon makes his way to the end of the pit lane. It's green light and away we go. It seems to be a good start from Max Verstappen as he heads up into turn 1, but it seems to be a better start from George Russell. Will George Russell launch all the way into turn 1 on Max Verstappen? No, he hasn't, and it actually seems like George Russell's been launched by Lando Norris, of all people. Lando is up into P2, and after a poor qualifying yesterday, he is already one position behind his championship rival Max Verstappen, and Lando Norris has launched 2 positions into P2. We've seen position gains from Hamilton, Magnussen, Tsunoda as Hülkenberg has lost 3 positions there into turn 1, but Russell and Leclerc have lost positions to the McLaren of Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen will be looking in his rearview mirrors right now at the bright papaya car, and he'll be thinking, how the hell is Lando there right now? We see Piastri has made 2 positions as well. I'm just watching the replay as we see Charles Leclerc making a move on George Russell as he has a run down into turn 12 and the start. Oh my God, what a move from Lando Norris. Just absolutely snuck up on the inside there as George Russell caught a bit of wheel spin through turn 1 and Lando move round the outside, as it seems to be, but George Russell defended from Charles Leclerc there, but Lando Norris positioned his car perfectly through turn 1, as George Russell, who struggled through that first corner through FP1, seemed to do so again as he's under attack from the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Lewis Hamilton already got past already past Hulkenberg, and he is behind the Ferraris as well, so we'll see how pacey Lewis Hamilton is there. Alonso has lost 2 positions as well. Lance Stroll up about place, as is Sergio Perez, but at the end of this first lap, DRS will now be activated, and it is Max Verstappen from Lando Norris, from George Russell in 3rd, Charles Leclerc in 4th, Carlos Sainz in 5th, Lewis Hamilton in 6th, Magnussen 7th, Tsunoda 8th, Hulkenberg 9th, Perez 10th, Colapinto 11th, Stroll 12th, Gasly 13th, Piastri 14th, Lawson 15th, Alonso 16th, Ocon 17th, Bottas, Zhou and Albon bringing up the rear, but DRS will now be activated. Lando Norris is just outside of that DRS though of Max Verstappen, but no, he's just gained it through turn 9 there, and he will have DRS. Everyone in this field, as it currently stands, will have DRS as they head down into turn 11. So let's see how much pace that McLaren has in the toe and the DRS open on that Red Bull. Max Verstappen punching a hole in the air ahead of the field here, giving Lando Norris that extra speed that he needs. He's gaining, and oh my god, he gained about 6 tenths there. Or maybe a bit less than that on Max Verstappen down into turn 12. So he only needs to be a little bit closer and he'll be able to get side by side alongside the Red Bull driver. But wow, this is at the moment damage limitation from Lando Norris. As it currently stands, he would only lose 1 position, as Carlos Sainz has got ahead of Charles Leclerc. He's got ahead of his teammate, the 2 Ferrari drivers battling. But it seems that Charles Leclerc has regained that position from Carlos Sainz as they headed down through turn 15 there. Wow. Fighting up and down the field here in this sprint race. Incident involving Magnussen leaving the track and gaining an advantage is being investigated. So we'll see. But at the moment, Max Verstappen still leading from Lando Norris and George Russell. With Charles Leclerc is going to have to be worried about Carlos Sainz, though. The 2 Ferrari drivers are fighting. They're side by side through turn 1. Who comes out ahead? It seems like they're still side by side as they head through turn 2. And Charles Leclerc holds onto the position from the Ferrari teammate. And this is not what Charles needs. He's more focusing about the podium position and wants to get ahead and tackle George Russell, but he's not able to do so as his teammate is getting ahead of him. No! Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Hello? Hello? Are we here? Are we here? Are we back? Testing. Oh, guys, apologies. Let's get back into it. Apologies about that issue right there. I'm not entirely sure what caused it, but here we are. Over 1,100 of you here watching this sprint race right now. It is Max Verstappen from Lando Norris, George Russell in P3. I was just saying there that Charles Leclerc is having to hold off his own teammate right now, rather than focus on the attack of the Mercedes of George Russell ahead. But it does seem that Lando Norris has just pulled out a gap on George Russell there. Oh, he's just got back into it on that DRS, but Max Verstappen is just pulling away from the DRS of Lando Norris, it seems. We'll see how long that McLaren can stay within the dirty air of Max Verstappen. It is a sprint race, so you need to stay within there as close as you can, but Norris did just lose the DRS there to Max Verstappen. As you can see, no DRS from him down into turn 1. Track limits violations being noted there for Sergio Perez and Nico Hulkenberg through turn 12 earlier on, which is at the end of the back straight there. But it is Verstappen still from Lando Norris, just staying 1 second ahead. And is Lando Norris starting to suffer with that medium compound tyre? But he's 2 laps extra old than Max Verstappen's tyres. He has lost DRS from the Red Bull driver, and George Russell, well, a fastest first sector from him, 4 tenths quicker than the McLaren of Lando Norris. And will he have an opportunity to attack Lando Norris here down at the end of the back straight? We'll see. Lando Norris without DRS. Let's see how pacey that McLaren is. Even, oh no, he does have DRS. Apologies, Lando Norris did sneak DRS somehow. The data there is showing that he actually was well, it was telling me lies, the data, but he wasn't within the DRS, but he actually was. So he was able to defend from George Russell and actually close the gap on the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. But as it stands, pretty much after the first lap, the field as is what it is. But Oscar Piastri is going for a move on Pierre Gasly. He's very close there. And Piastri, as he managed to get ahead and maintain that position on the Alpine driver, it does seem like he has. So Oscar Piastri is up 3 positions into P13. So, Oscar Piastri making some gains there, but he's still 5 positions back from a points finish. And Sergio Perez, I'm surprised he's not able to make more ground up here. He made a position earlier on in this race on the first lap, but he's still in P10 and actually outside of the DRS of Nico Hülkenberg. Turn 11 incident of Kevin Magnussen, leaving the track and gaining advantage, still noted by the FIA stewards there, as George Russell has also had a track limits violation at turn 9 of all places. But Norris losing the DRS properly now to Max Verstappen. You can see 1.2 seconds back from Max Verstappen. Let's see what the sector 1 time is in comparison. And George Russell, that Mercedes, is so much quicker in the first sector compared to both the Red Bull and the McLaren of Lando Norris. So I wonder if there's still a story here of George Russell potentially winning this race. I think if he gets past Lando, I think he could be on the back of Max Verstappen pretty sharpish. We'll see. You can see that interval there, and he's gained time on the exit on Lando Norris. He's 0.6 seconds back. He has DRS open, but will it be enough to go for a move on Lando Norris, on the McLaren driver, down into turn 12? No, not close enough. But George Russell does seem to be very strong in that Mercedes in the first sector. Lewis Hamilton staying with as well. It seems to be that there's kind of team orders at the moment between Leclerc and Sainz to maintain position, as Sainz is getting very, very close as Yuki Tsunoda makes a move on Kevin Magnussen and is up into P7. A good result for him thus far in the points finishing positions in this sprint race. But Lando Norris starting to lose time to Max Verstappen in that dirty air on those slightly older medium compound tyres. And Max Verstappen, in with the clean air in front of him, is starting to slightly pull away. 1.4 seconds the gap is now. George Russell has DRS on Lando. Lewis Hamilton is just outside the DRS of Charles Leclerc. Well, actually, sorry, apologies. Sainz has got ahead of Charles Leclerc. Wow, I was saying that there was no move to be had there between the two Ferrari drivers, but Sainz has got ahead of Leclerc. Lando Norris still under attack from George Russell. Look how close the Mercedes driver is able to stay through the first sector, through the S's, as Magnussen gets a move done on Yuki Tsunoda. They're side by side. Yuki Tsunoda and Kevin Magnussen, as they head through the S's, they're side by side. And Tsunoda has to give up the position to the Haas driver, who is being investigated for, no further action for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. He was being investigated. But wow, great battling there from Yuki Tsunoda and Kevin Magnussen. But the Ferrari drivers are fighting it out, it seems. But George Russell close again on Lando Norris. We'll see if he's able to gain here. And he is gaining. He is gaining half a tenth. He hasn't lost time here on the wheel spin on the exit of turn 11. He has DRS open. Does he have enough to go for a move? He's a tenth back. No, he just backs out. He doesn't have enough to go side by side and make the move on the McLaren driver, as Lando is 1.4 seconds still behind Max Verstappen as it currently stands. But that doesn't mean that there's not another overtaking opportunity for George Russell, as he's all over the back of the rear wing of Lando Norris there. You can see less than a tenth behind Lando Norris he was there into the braking zone of turn 15. Will he have a move around turn 17 and 18? We've seen overtakes here before. No, he just backs off, as Alex Albon has got a move done at the back of the field there on Zhou Guanyu. But George Russell is absolutely all over the rear wing of the McLaren of Lando Norris, as this is allowing Max Verstappen to pull away a 2.1 second lead at the moment. Carlos Sainz is in P4 ahead of Charles Leclerc, and Lewis Hamilton just slightly falling back at the moment. He's got older tyres, 1 lap more than Carlos Sainz, and Charles Leclerc is starting to fall away a little bit to the Ferrari drivers. We have 13 laps remaining. I wonder if maybe this is strategic from Lewis just to look after those tyres, and it might still come alive at the end of this sprint race. That's a long 13 laps remaining in this race. But Russell really went for a move on Lando Norris. He was alongside him, and Lando had to defend to the Mercedes driver of George Russell, which is just benefiting Lando. But we can see George Russell has just fallen back a little bit on Matt. You can see he's just fallen back a little bit on Norris at the moment. He's fallen back. He does have DRS just, but he's about 1 second behind now. And, well, has George Russell taken too much out of his tyres on that attack? As Norris's engineer is reporting Verstappen potentially damaging his rear. There's a bit more than we think. So maybe the race will come back to Norris. As Tsunoda, who was in P7 only a couple of laps ago, has now fallen back behind both the Haas drivers. The two Haas drivers are in the points positions, but Hulkenberg is having to defend from Yuki Tsunoda. He's not giving this up easy, as Hulkenberg does maintain the position as they head into turn 15. Piastri is now up into P12, up 4 positions, and has his eyes set on Colapinto as he got ahead of Lance Stroll. Alonso is having a terrible race, down 3 positions into P17. Sergio Perez is still stuck in P10 at the moment, and we'll see how long it takes him to dispatch Yuki Tsunoda, who seems to be just falling away a little bit. There was an incident noted between Piastri and Gasly, forcing another driver off the track at turn 12, so maybe there might be some, maybe that will be noted, maybe there'll be a penalty there for Piastri, who knows. But at the moment, it is Verstappen from Lando Norris, from George Russell in P3, Sainz in P4, Leclerc P5, Hamilton in P6. Lando Norris 1.7 seconds back from Max Verstappen. Still 12 laps remaining in this race. That is quite a substantial amount of laps. And the tyres, well, they can't go 100% throughout the duration of this sprint race. And well, you can see there, just in the space of 2 corners, Norris has just taken 2 tenths out of Max Verstappen through turn 9 and turn 10. So is the rear of that Red Bull, as the engineer of Lando Norris stated, starting to lose a bit of time. And you can see Norris down to 1.4 seconds. In just a space of 5 corners, Lando Norris has cut that gap down to around 4, cut down 4 tenths, 3 tenths or so in the space of 5 corners. So how much is the Red Bull hurting on those rear tyres? We will see. But of course, Lando Norris will be getting back into the dirty air of that Red Bull, and maybe we'll start to see Lando Norris's gain start to plateau a little bit. But George Russell, after that attempt on trying to attack Lando Norris, has fallen back a little bit to 1.4 seconds, and there's no, turn 12 still under investigation. Pierre Gasly and Oscar Piastri. We'll see what comes of that. But it's still Max Verstappen with 11 laps remaining. Max Verstappen 1.5 seconds ahead of Lando Norris. George Russell 1.2 seconds back in P3. Carlos Sainz in P4. Leclerc in P5. And Hamilton in P6. Further down the grid, we have the 2 Haas drivers in the 2 remaining points positions of 7th and 8th. We have Tsunoda in P9. Perez in P10. Still not able to get past Yuki Tsunoda, but he is on the back of him. We can see that Colapinto is in 11th. Piastri is on the attack and wanting to get past Colapinto. Stroll in 13th. Gasly 14th. Ocon 15th. Lawson 16th. Alonso 17th. Bottas 18th. Albon 19th. And Zhou Guanyu in 20th. But let's see if Lando Norris can gain even more time here down this back straight. As Alonso is stating that the AlphaTauri is such an idiot in regards to Liam Lawson. So Alonso not happy about the defence of Liam Lawson, but to be honest, from what I saw, it wasn't too... didn't look like it was too bad in all honesty. But Lando Norris 1.3 seconds, just goes out to 1.4 seconds there, but it was 1.3 seconds under braking down into turn 12 with 11 laps remaining. There's still quite a way here on this same set of tyres that they need to manage. Carlos Sainz closing up the gap on George Russell as he is losing. As Carlos Sainz is ahead, he's side by side with George Russell. Will he be able to maintain the position down into turn 17? It does seem like he's been able to, as Carlos Sainz has made another overtake down into turn 15, and he's got ahead of George Russell, and Carlos Sainz seems to be in great control in this race as George Russell is struggling on this set of medium compound tyres. He took the attack to Lando Norris, but seems to potentially have killed his tyres in doing so, and has now found himself out of the podium positions and is under attack from the other Ferrari driver of Charles Leclerc. And if he's not careful, he's going to lose the DRS of Carlos Sainz pretty quickly, as Charles Leclerc is all over the rear wing of George Russell. Lewis Hamilton on this set of medium compound tyres doesn't have an answer. Carlos Sainz had a fastest first sector there, as Lando Norris is gaining under 1.3 seconds now. That gap is to Max Verstappen, and we'll see what it is at the end of this lap, or even down the end of the back straight down into turn 12. But we can see that Russell has already lost the DRS of Carlos Sainz. Maybe he does still have it. We'll see as they head down the back straight here. But George Russell could find himself vulnerable to the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. He will do, no doubt. He has the toe from Carlos Sainz ahead, but Charles Leclerc, we know he's aggressive. We know that he wants to finish on the podium positions. He's already lost a place to his teammate and George Russell, and well, he didn't quite have enough there, but George Russell didn't have DRS there, and he's struggling. How much longer can he stay within the dirty air of Carlos Sainz and defend the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc? I can't imagine for very long. Lando Norris seems to have lost just a bit of time there through the fast sector. Charles Leclerc's made a move on George Russell, just like Carlos Sainz did into turn 15, and he's got the move done. George Russell struggling on that set of tyres as two laps in a row. The same move from the two Ferrari drivers have got past George Russell into the same corner. It seems to be the two Mercedes drivers struggling on their tyres in this race. They were quick yesterday in qualifying, but they're falling to the wayside here in this sprint race as George Russell has now dropped 3 positions to P5. Carlos Sainz now has his eyes set on the McLaren driver of Norris ahead, as there's a 5-second time penalty for Oscar Piastri for forcing another driver off the circuit. So Oscar Piastri, who is trying to chase down 8th place, it's a tall order for him with only 9 laps remaining, but he has a 5-second time penalty for forcing Pierre Gasly off of the circuit. So not a good sprint weekend thus far for Oscar Piastri. He'll be looking to redeem himself in qualifying for the main race later on. But Lando Norris now 1.6 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen seemed to turn on the afterburners there in that first sector, matching almost identically Lando Norris's first sector time there, with also a 26.2, only a few hundredths separating the two drivers there. Carlos Sainz also doing a 26.2, as well as Charles Leclerc. The two Mercedes drivers, though, slightly slower than those ahead of them, so they are currently struggling in this race on this set of tyres. Maybe there'll be some setup changes to be had between the two Mercedes drivers come qualifying later on. Piastri's done. Yeah, not good weekend thus far for Piastri. And then in very long nails into Russell's coffin. Damn, you can hear Russell's radio complaining about tyre dig. I know. He is falling away massively from the two Ferrari drivers, isn't it? It's unbelievable. As Lando Norris seems to have just lost a bit of time to Max Verstappen there in that last sector. There is 8 laps remaining in this race. Still some way to go. And we'll see if Lando can close in on that gap of Max Verstappen, whether or not Max's tyres will last, and Lando's, bearing in mind. But will the two Ferrari drivers fight each other here? Of course, there is a podium position in this sprint race to be had, but it does seem like Max has just put on the afterburners a little bit. You could see he initially took the fastest first sector there until it was taken away from him by Carlos Sainz, then Charles Leclerc. But we will see. Maybe Lando Norris is just looking after these tyres here until the end for a last couple of laps push. We will see. But Sainz closing in on Lando Norris, 1.8 seconds now behind Lando Norris. So the Ferraris, I'll tell you what, the way the Ferraris are at the moment, if they have a better qualifying later on today, they could be in a good position come the race tomorrow. They look very strong, actually, and they've made some good gains. Of course, Mercedes have fallen back, and George Russell is falling into the clutches of Lewis Hamilton, actually, as it currently stands. So George Russell really struggling in this sprint race. And Lando Norris now 2.2 seconds back from Verstappen, so he is losing time to the Red Bull driver. 2.3 now, so we will see if that is basically the race as it stands. But with that, Norris needs to be careful because the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz is gaining. You can see 1.6 seconds now on Lando Norris, so he could potentially put himself ahead of Lando here and put another point between Lando and Max Verstappen. Perez has finally got past Yuki Tsunoda as they head through turn 17 and 18, and Sergio Perez is one place back from a points finish position. Nico Hülkenberg ahead of him, but he is 4 seconds back with only 7 laps remaining. That's a tall order for the Red Bull driver. Oscar Piastri up into P11 now. He has got past Colapinto, but he has a 5-second time penalty for forcing another driver off the track in the form of Pierre Gasly. Lance Stroll in P13 where he started. Gasly in 14th, Ocon 15th, Lawson 16th. Alonso really poor at the moment. He is struggling, and he's under attack from Alex Albon, actually, as they head into turn 1. And will Alex Albon be able to get a move done on the Aston Martin driver here? And he has done, I think, as they head into turn 2. And Alex Albon has got ahead of Fernando Alonso, and Alonso is 18th. He is only ahead of the 2 Stake F1 cars. How unbelievable is that right now? Fernando Alonso, oof. But Lando Norris, 2.1 seconds behind Max Verstappen. We can see that Sainz is 1.5 seconds back. Charles Leclerc just following Carlos Sainz at the moment, not willing to fight his teammates to ensure that they catch the drivers ahead of them. Oscar Piastri on the attack now. He's looking at a move on Tsunoda, but Tsunoda's looking for a move on Perez. We'll see if Piastri tries to put his nose in there. Not close enough. We have seen moves, though, down into turn 15, and there is a corner which opens up and does allow the drivers to make a move on the insiders. Piastri is all over the rear wing of Yuki Tsunoda. He's potentially even side by side. We'll see if Piastri has the grip. Does he have the performance over the RB car? You would suspect so, but Piastri, tucked up behind Yuki Tsunoda, just has to back off and accept his position for now. But with only a couple, you would think with DRS potentially remaining down into turn 1, he might have an opportunity on Tsunoda, who doesn't have it on Perez in front. We'll see. Let's keep an eye out on this battle at the moment as Sainz is closing in on Lando Norris. 1.4 seconds now on the McLaren driver. Max Verstappen still 2.2 seconds ahead of Lando, and Piastri, no, just has to hold position just a little while longer. He is actually, no, he's side by side with Yuki. Is he going to come out ahead? They're side by side as they head into the S's, and no, Piastri just has to back out to ensure that he holds, doesn't get shoved off there off the circuit. But Lando Norris, has he accepted potentially that this is his race? He will only lose 1 point to Max Verstappen as it currently stands. He'd love to gain a point, of course. Every point matters in this championship with less races remaining as we go on throughout this season. But of course, the big points are on offer tomorrow come the race on Sunday. But Carlos Sainz, 1.3.9 seconds back from Lando. 6 laps remaining. There'll be 5 laps remaining after this. Let's see if Lando can hold off Carlos Sainz. It does seem to be that in those rear traction zones, particularly out of turn 12 and turn 15, that's where Lando is starting to lose a bit of time to the Ferrari behind and Max Verstappen ahead, and that gap is now 1.2 seconds between Sainz and Lando Norris. Woo! Sainz gets pancakes off this one. Lewis Hamilton is 1.8 seconds back on George Russell. Yeah, the two Mercedes drivers are just in no man's land, really, at the moment. Magnussen and Hulkenberg, well, Perez's gap to Hulkenberg has gone out to 5 seconds. That gap when he overtook Tsunoda was only at 4, and now that is over 5 seconds. So Perez is actually losing time to the Haas drivers. He slightly gained their last lap with a 38.8, as Yuki Tsunoda and Piastri leaving the track and gaining an advantage is noted. So Yuki Tsunoda went off the circuit there and maintained his position on Oscar Piastri. So we'll see maybe if, just watching the replay now actually about Yuki Tsunoda and Piastri. And no, that was not that lap. It meant another lap as well. But yes, Max was 5 laps remaining. Max Verstappen is leading 2.1 seconds ahead of Lando Norris. Sainz is in P3, just gone out to 1.4 seconds now on the McLaren driver. Charles Leclerc behind in P4. George Russell, who started second and did try to go for a move on Max into turn 1, but he ended up finding himself behind Lando Norris, and he tried to go back at Lando Norris, but killed his tyres in the meantime, is down in P5. Lewis Hamilton, who never really looked at an opportunity, of course, starting in P7 today. Starting in P7 today behind the Haas drivers. He gained a position early on, but doesn't seem to have the race pace to stay with the top 4. Is in P6, Magnussen and Hulkenberg in P7 and 8, and Perez looking like he's not going to be able to catch that last points position in P9 there. Only the top 8 get points here in the sprint race, guys. Tsunoda in P10. Oscar Piastri, who has a 5-second time penalty for forcing another driver off the circuit, is in P11. He is still not able to get past the RB driver of Tsunoda. He's doing very well at defending him at the moment. Colapinto down 2 positions in 12th, Stroll 13th, Gasly 14th, Ocon 15th, Lawson 16th, Albon with a brand new Albon starting in the pit lane is in 17th. Alonso, a shocking performance from him as Oscar Piastri is going for a move down into turn 1. Has he got ahead of Yuki Tsunoda? Has he maybe overshot the corner? And is he able to hold on to the position? They're side by side as they head through the S's, and Oscar Piastri has finally, after 3 laps of trying, got ahead of Yuki Tsunoda into turn 1, maintained the position through the S's, but unfortunately for Piastri, he is still 2 positions behind Nico Hulkenberg, that last points position, with only 4 laps remaining, and he does also have a 5-second time penalty as well for forcing another driver off the circuit. So good move there from Oscar Piastri, showing his racing chops, but it seems that, yes, that qualifying yesterday really has stumped him, and he's going to finish outside the points in this sprint race. But 2.6 seconds now between Norris and Verstappen, and really the battle here is between potentially Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris, and even maybe Charles Leclerc. He is just outside of the DRS of the McLaren of Lando Norris. 1.1 seconds now he is on Lando. We can see that Gasly has got a black and white flag for track limits. 1 more track limits violation and he'll have a 5-second time penalty. But Lando Norris 1 second back from Sainz. The Ferrari seems to be so good on its tyres, it seems, compared to the McLaren of Lando in this current setup, in this guise that it currently has. And it's so fortunate really that Lando was able to get that couple of positions at the start of this race, because he might not have had the tyres in the dirty air to overtake, as he has fallen back from Max Verstappen and Sainz. And he's now got to the rear wing of Lando Norris, loses a bit of time there under rear traction through turn 9, and he's gone back out to 1.2 seconds, and Norris will be able to have comfort here for 1 more lap, knowing the Ferrari is not in his DRS. But importantly for Norris, he has lost time to Max Verstappen ahead, and he doesn't have DRS ahead of him to help him in his defence to the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. We'll see if Sainz now is in the clearly in the dirty air of the McLaren, whether those rear tyres will last. Charles Leclerc's doing a pretty good job of staying within the dirty air of his teammate, that is for sure. And you can see there the rear grip that the Ferrari drivers have compared to the McLaren of Norris is substantial. A couple of attempts there he's gained in just a few corners, and well, we've seen Ferrari gain positions through turn 15 already, through that section of this circuit, and I wonder if they'll be thinking the same thing next time around when they come to those couple of corners behind Lando Norris, who does seem to be struggling. So we'll see if that is the case. Lewis Hamilton is on the back of George Russell now as well, it seems. So I wonder if these drivers are free to fight or whether they're going to be told to hold position. Of course, Lewis Hamilton out next year of the Mercedes team and heading to Ferrari. George Russell due to be the number 1 driver, but Lewis Hamilton very, very late on the brakes there, it seems, on George Russell with DRS. He went for a slight little look there, and he's actually lost. I think Lewis Hamilton went for a lunge there into turn 1 on George Russell, because he's just lost DRS on his teammate. So I think Lewis Hamilton went for a lunge there. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Goes without saying, but keep it nice and clean. So yes, they're free to fight, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, as Lewis Hamilton does regain the position again. Does regain DRS again. Sainz does have DRS on the McLaren of Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc also very close to his teammates, but of course they're thinking about the podium positions here. It could still be a double podium for the 2 Ferrari drivers. We will see, as Leclerc sets the fastest first sector out of anyone, a 26.027. Sainz also in the 26.0, and Norris was a 26.1. And you can see there, it's half a second now between Sainz and Lando Norris, and it's very, very close. Did Sainz go for a move on Lando there into turn 15? He did it on George Russell. He definitely had a look, and I think he maybe forced Lando out of position there, as he's 3 tenths back on Lando Norris, and Lando, with 2 laps remaining, has to fight for his life here to ensure that he only loses one point in the championship battle to Max Verstappen. He will be vulnerable here down into turn 1. The Ferraris seem to be much better on their rear tyres than the McLaren. Sainz, is he going to go for a move down into turn 1? The old McLaren teammates, he's definitely looking for it. They're side by side into turn 1. Will Lando Norris be able to hold on to it? And Sainz has got ahead of Lando into turn 1, and now Lando could be losing an extra position to Charles Leclerc. We're on the final lap of this race, and wow, now it's 2 points between Lando and Max Verstappen, and Max will be loving this right now. But Lando, will he be able to hold off Charles Leclerc? I don't think so. His tyres have clearly gone. Or will Lando be able to go back at Carlos Sainz? Who knows? This sprint race, we have half a lap remaining. Hamilton is still on the back of his teammate George Russell, but has just lost DRS there, it seems. Piastri is on the back, is a few seconds back from Sergio Perez. Perez is 4.4 seconds back. But anyway, Lando Norris, DRS open. He's too far back on Carlos Sainz, maybe. Is he going to go for a lunge, or is he just going to think about covering off Charles Leclerc and damage limitation here for him is still an extra position than where he started, but he has turn 15 to contend with. Charles Leclerc has gone for a move here on George Russell previously. Is he going to cover this position off? We will see. Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc all over the back of him. Does Charles Leclerc have that extra grip? There is still turn 14, 17, 18 and 19 for him to have a go at, and I think Lando has done enough there. Charles Leclerc forced out of position. He's lost a bit of time. Max Verstappen comes around the last corner and will win this sprint race starting from pole position. Carlos Sainz starting in P4 finishes in second. Lando just holds off Charles Leclerc to finish in third, and Leclerc finishes in fourth. George Russell will finish in fifth, and Hamilton will finish in sixth. The two Haas drivers are going to secure double points here in this sprint race. A great drive from the two Haas drivers, picking up double points in this sprint race in seventh and eighth. Sergio Perez will finish ninth. Oscar Piastri will finish, well, 10th. He will just finish ahead of Yuki Tsunoda because of that 5-second time penalty. But wow, Lando Norris there, he would have loved to have that only been a points difference between him and Max Verstappen, but that gap now has gone to 54 points on Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. It seems that Charles Leclerc touched actually Lando Norris when they went into the braking zone of turn 15. So Leclerc did go for a lunge on Lando, but wasn't able to make it stick. But wow, what a sprint race that was. Very interesting. One of the better ones we've had, that is for sure, guys. That is for sure. I really hope you enjoyed that. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Wow. Oof, what a drive from those Ferraris. Definitely ones to keep an eye out on for the remainder of this weekend, because that was very good race pace from them. They were much better than Lando on the tyres. Verstappen also good on the tyres though. But we'll see. No doubt there's going to be some setup changes for Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri because they just went through their tyres too quickly. That is for sure. Whew. Breathe, Scott. Breathe. Wow. Wow. Qualifying is going to be crazy, and new setups. It is indeed, Joe. It is indeed. Oh. But Russell found wanting again when it comes to tyre management. Yeah, he went on the attack and it failed miserably. Let's run through the rest of the grid. Yuki Tsunoda in P11, losing 2 positions there. He was up in P7 at one point, but then lost positions quickly back to back on Magnussen and then Hulkenberg. So just watching the overtake by Carlos Sainz on Lando into turn 1. And Lando, he tricked Lando. Lando locked up into turn 1, which allowed Carlos Sainz to slide straight through. And then into turn 15 on the last lap, Charles Leclerc with the extra grip. Oh, I mean, he said Lando moved under braking. I disagree. I don't think that was moving under braking by Lando there on Charles Leclerc. But Lando covered the inside, and Charles Leclerc had to take avoiding action. But yes, good racing there from Carlos Sainz, especially. He made some very, very good overtakes there. And the Ferraris, well, McLaren definitely have some work to do, guys, between now and qualifying. They need to get their setup dialed in, that is for sure. Their tyres definitely weren't great. Oh, Valtteri Bottas has stopped out on circuit. Yellow flag here at the end. Valtteri Bottas. Interesting. No one really cares about Stake F1, but looks like Valtteri Bottas is at a breakdown there in turn 13. Good call. Thanks, guys. Daddy Stuffeyy. Yeah, no, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thank you. I hope you appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Let's keep it going. Let's get this to 500 likes. But a great drive from Carlos Sainz. Max Verstappen, still fastest lap there at the end of 37.4. So he was just managing his tyres. Lando Norris was the one who ended up killing his tyres there. Carlos Sainz, the Ferraris were very good on their tyres. Well, it'd be interesting to hear some comments afterwards to see exactly where how Lando was feeling with that. Of course, George Russell, the big worry for Mercedes is that they massively dropped off with their tyre management. They had good... I mean, Mercedes have... One session they have a good car, the next session they have a bad car. I can't... They're such a yo-yo team at the moment with their performance, Mercedes, isn't it? My pleasure, Cora, my pleasure. What's my predictions for qualifying? Oh, I really couldn't... I couldn't say because the teams are going to make setup changes. So it's I really can't say. I do think Lando will come back. I do think McLaren will come back strong this evening or later on in qualifying. And I think we could still see a Lando pole. But we'll see. 6 seconds off the back in a 1/3 race. Stake equals ouch. I know. Shocking, isn't it, really? Absolutely shocking. What a fake out by Sainz. Yeah, he made him think about it, didn't he? And Lando got caught out and locked up, obviously, on tyres that were already struggling. But Lando, great move in the first corner. He's only lost 2 points. So he could still gain good amount of points tomorrow. But, of course, Max did look good there. But there's work for McLaren to do between now and quali to get that setup dialed in, because it wasn't good on the tyres for them. Lando's quite negative sometimes. He lacks arrogance. Yeah, I agree. So the sprint race has just finished. Qualifying will be on at 11 o'clock UK time. So that will be 3 hours, 20 minutes from now, basically. Max on last to Sector 3. Yeah, he's Sector 3. He's the fastest through Sector 3 through that race. So he was very good in clean air, that's for sure. Actually, Norris was only 4th fastest in the first sector. Bearing in mind there's like 2 tenths separating top 4 drivers. He was 3rd fastest in the 2nd sector, Norris. And then Norris in Sector 3 was the 6th fastest. So he was 3 tenths slower than Verstappen in the last sector. So that's where he was really struggling. So this commentary is better than Sky's. Oh, thank you, TC. Thank you. Madison good. Sainz great. Ferrari 12 points. Red Bull 8. McLaren 6. Good for closing the championship. Sainz was good on the long runs. Yeah, we'll see. It looks like Ferrari and Red Bull have got their setup dialed in. We'll see. Obviously, there's work to be done for McLaren and Mercedes, the 2 M's. They both need to work out something, because that's a big drop off from them, especially Mercedes and McLaren and Norris as well. Maybe it was just the way Norris was driving. We'll see, but he did complain about the setup yesterday, so maybe the setup just wasn't great and he was sliding a bit too much. So yeah, Max finally wins. Yeah, a long time since he's won. Back in Austria was the last time he won, I think, which was no Canada. I can't remember. Been a while, so. His PK appears to be pleased. Well, these sprint races, if they've been kind enough to grant at least one more engine to the allotment. Next year they have, yes, I think. They voted against it, didn't they? Or was it this year they voted against it, actually? I can't remember. I think they initially wanted to reduce it this year, and then the teams voted against it, and they accepted it. So, any update on Bottas? No, there isn't any at the moment. No. So, oh, Lando Norris noted driving erratically, turn 15. I don't think he moved under braking there. I'll have to see it again, but I don't think he moved under braking. While, like, he was braking and yeah, I don't think he moved under braking. I need to see it again, but people still think Lewis Hamilton regretting his move. I know, Aaron. It seems to be Ferrari are coming good at the end of the season. Yeah, they've been good since Monza. Ferrari, they have been. Like Singapore, they should have been on the front row. They should have been fighting for the win, or at least the podium positions. If it wasn't for them just getting their tyre blankets completely wrong and sending Charles Leclerc and Sainz out with cold tyres. So yeah. Yes, that's true. Dusko as well. Yeah, Norris did have slightly older tyres, 2-lap older tyres as well compared to Leclerc and Sainz and Verstappen. There's also that element as well. And when you compare it to Russell and Hamilton, they also were on 2-lap older tyres. So maybe that 2-lap older tyres, the drop-off there is substantial, especially in a sprint race where they're trying to fight. So, yes, I'm sure they'll analyse the data, McLaren and Mercedes. No doubt they'll probably make some changes, because there is still, even with a 2-lap older tyre, quite a dramatic drop-off in pace. But we'll see. They stopped, yes, they have stopped the fastest point for next year, yeah. Do I think Carlos is going to Williams is going to do okay in Williams? Yeah, I think he'll do okay in Williams, yeah. I think he will. it's more of a mental thing rather than anything. Just it's very different mentally going to fight for wins, going to a team that's trying to consistently finish in the points, you know. So I think it's more of a mental challenge for Sainz more than a physical one. Bottas just broke down, I think. I don't think they haven't shown any TV coverage of it, but I think he just broke down. So Charles will win tomorrow. Mark my words, it'll be his birthday. Is it his birthday tomorrow? Oh well. Even as bad as Russell cuts his tyres, Ham still could or chose not to pass. Mert does not seem to have the race pace. Yeah, that's what it seems like, Scott. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the conditions are today in the sprint race compared to what we saw in the sprint quali yesterday. We know that it can be, if the track temp changes by 1 or 2 degrees, it could be all the difference between Mercedes being at peak performance to them being completely outside that window. They have such a small window of performance. It wouldn't surprise me if that had a factor as well today. Qualifying is on at 11 PM UK time, so that is 3 and a bit hours from now, guys. 3 and a bit hours. Cheating bib is doing nice there. Oh, they can't do anything with the bib now because it's been sealed off. Stake tractor engine made only last 19 laps. Yeah. Lando was second, but he got overtaken by Sainz down into turn 1 in the last lap. And, well, he is being investigated, or he's being noted for driving erratically. Charles Leclerc said he moved under braking into turn 15, but I'm not sure he did. I think he just angled his car towards the inside. So it might have seemed like he moved under braking, but he wasn't. It wasn't a jink or anything. But I need to see it back again to see if that actually is the case. But it's been noted by the stewards anyway. So yeah. Next year the Aston Martin will be quick. Well, Adrian Newey's influence probably won't have an effect until the latter end of next year or maybe 2026. So there's always a delay in a key personnel's influence when they join a team. So my pleasure, Scott, my pleasure. Who do I think will win the GP? I have no idea. Generally no idea. So if Tash is running a juice, could have had penalties for a fine. Yeah, wasn't Nando complaining about his setup? Is that why he didn't perform as well? I think so, Jake. Yeah, I do think they'll make some changes to setup for qualifying this afternoon or for the remainder of the race weekend. That's what it seems like. That probably maybe contributed to his fall off. The Ferraris are very good there on their management. So was Verstappen, of course. Verstappen can control the race out front and look after his tyres better than those behind because he hasn't got any dirty air to contend with. But yeah, Piastri made 6 positions up there in the back of the grid, up into P10. Even with that 5-place grid penalty, he finished ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. But Fernando Alonso, 18th place. What's going on there, guys? What's going on there? So, Bottas said his brakes stopped working, and that's why he stops on track. There we go. Firing Bottas's brakes. Fair enough. Is quali when you're not allowed to change the setup? Yes. So whatever setup you dial in for quali, you cannot change then. You're in parc ferme. You then cannot change that other than the front wing angle and driver comfort. You're not able to change those. They're the only elements you're able to change from parc ferme. So what your setup is for quali is what it is for the race. A Haas P6, I'm not sure actually. Championship standings wouldn't have been updated as of yet on my end, so I won't be able to check that. But they're P6 in the constructors. Well, I mean, they're doing so well, Haas. I mean, I have to hold my hands up and apologise to them. I thought they'd do pretty poorly this year, but they're doing pretty well, aren't they? They're doing pretty well. So I'll be live for quali. Of course I will, Jake. Of course I will. I'll be live probably 15 minutes before it goes live, before the session. Maybe just a touch earlier than that, but I'm going to put the stream up after this, so you can go and wait in there in the waiting room. And yeah, I think I'll put it to go live 15 minutes before. I may go live a bit before that though. So I think Piastri will win tomorrow. Wild guess. Yeah, I expect McLaren to come back strong. I do. I think they would have gathered data. I think a lot of teams might make some changes. I mean, who knows? Maybe Ferrari and Verstappen, they make changes to the setup and they actually screw their car over. You never know. Sometimes you can make changes to try and even better it, and it actually does the opposite. We've seen that before as well. But anyway, guys, I'm now going to go have some dinner. I am starving. I suggest you guys, wherever you are in the world, go do the same. Go grab yourself some breakfast, lunch, dinner, a nice beverage. Go cool down for a couple of hours, and we'll be back, of course, for quali this evening UK time. So yeah, 3 hours from now, guys, is when quali is going to be happening, wherever you are in the world. Have a good couple of hours, and yeah, take in the sprint race. What we've just seen there, Lando Norris has lost 2 points in the championship battle there. That gap is now 54 points compared to 52. Not the result Lando and I think everyone else was expecting. At least Lando Norris, of course, he wanted better than that. But there's still lots of points on offer tomorrow, and of course qualifying this later on this evening. So yeah, we will see, guys. We will see. But yeah, big thank you for everyone for subscribing. 30,560 subscribers right now. I've seen some come in. Paul, Victor, etc. Will much appreciate. Anyone else that hasn't shown up as an alert, I appreciate you guys as always. Yes, we will see you then. An interesting sprint race for once. I will be streaming every single race between now and the end of the season, Chaz. That is for sure. Yes. So have a lovely break, guys, and we'll see you in a few hours. See you then. Bye.